I recently had to experience something that scarred me for life. But what I did after was even crazier. Ryan clinked his beer against the garage door and spat. "Enjoy the tin can, Lauren." Mom's friends across the street actually cheered. They didn't know the garage came with a clause. If I improved it, I could claim the land beneath it. So I smiled, swallowed the sting, and drew up plans that would bankrupt his smug grin. But before we begin, let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. I'd always believed home was where people loved you, but the day Mom's will was read, my definition shattered. Ryan inherited the two-story craftsman we grew up in, right down to the rose bushes I planted at 12. All I got was $5,000 and use of the detached garage until you find other lodging. He didn't even hide his smirk as our neighbors, the Crawfords, whispered that I'd become back alley Lauren. My cheeks burned, but fury seeded the ground beneath that oil-stained slab. Money wasn't the real blow. Respect was. I'd spent a decade secretly renovating celebrity vacation homes under ironclad NDAs. Clients paid me not only for my designs, but for my silence. Ryan thought I was still waitressing. That ignorance became my weapon the minute he slapped a handwritten eviction notice on the workbench. I had 90 days to leave. The ticking clock hammered in my ears like a slow drumbeat. I nodded, asked him to sign a receipt for my files. He laughed at my paper fetish and strolled to the hardware store with a pocket notebook and a pulse full of vengeance. The first twist hit 2 weeks later when his girlfriend, Melinda, hosted a backyard barbecue to welcome the new homeowners. From the garage's cracked window, I watched guests snicker at my mattress propped against paint cans. I pushed a Bluetooth speaker against the sill, blasted a demolition playlist, and started ripping down warped drywall. Each crash drowned their laughter until Melinda screeched, "Keep it down!" I winked, slapped on ear protection, and kept swinging. That night, I slept under stars visible through the open studs, but I also slept smiling. The budget looked impossible. $5,000 wouldn't cover insulation, let alone luxury finishes, and my savings had evaporated after a messy divorce. Still, I had favors. Years of discreet perfection for A-list clients meant abandoned slabs of marble, misordered smart home gadgets, and enough loyalty to score massive discounts. I called Jesse, an electrician whose Malibu project I'd saved by working overnight, and traded future design sketches for rewiring. I bartered with Maya, a glass artist, swapping an introduction to a Hollywood producer for custom floor-to-ceiling windows. Each deal felt like knitting armor. Ryan's second strike came when he shut off my power, claiming the garage panel was drawing too much. He expected panic. Instead, I hauled in a rented generator, letting its roar shake the house foundations at dawn. He stormed out in boxers, fists clenched. I handed him the building code showing he'd violated our mother's utilities clause. One phone call to the county inspector gained me a temporary meter while slapping him with a citation. His face blanched. I'd erased my setback by creating one for him. At 30 days, the framework gleamed. Spray foam insulation kept the heat out. Polished concrete floors reflected soft LED strips. Reclaimed redwood formed floating shelves. I wanted opulence, but I also wanted a symbol. A glass pivot door etched with Mom's lilac sketch, the flower she doodled on every note she left me. When the door arrived, neighbors stopped to stare. The Crawfords muttered that I was overcompensating. I waved, dusted my hands, and installed a brass handle shaped like a laughing mouth, my reminder that ridicule could be recycled. Halfway to the deadline, Ryan unleashed Twist 3. He listed the craftsman for sale. "Need a bigger place," he bragged. But I knew the truth. He expected the garage eyesore to drag the price higher once it disappeared. A broker's caravan rolled up, realtors toted lattes, and Ryan pointedly ignored my space. I opened my pivot door wide. The lead agent's jaw dropped at the walnut kitchenette, the lofted reading nook, the aromatherapy diffuser misting sandalwood. She asked for a tour. I gave a 5-minute spin and handed her QR codes linking to a private Airbnb listing I'd built the night before, photos lit like a travel magazine. The phone pinged with bookings within an hour, at double Ryan's expected mortgage payment. Better yet, guests left glowing reviews about the hidden oasis steps from downtown. Ryan's sale stalled. Buyers asked if the garage suite conveyed. He raged that it belonged to dumb little Lauren. His open houses dwindled, and so did his patience. My vulnerability dip arrived the night the generator died. A heat wave turned the garage into an oven. My guests were due next day, and the hardware store had 0 units left. I crumpled onto the cool concrete, tears buzzing behind my eyelids. Memories of Mom watering those roses swept in, scent of wet earth wrapping me like a hug. I whispered, "Help me bloom." Then I texted Jessie, who drove over with surplus solar panels from a desert resort job, refusing payment beyond a bottle of wine. By dawn, soft power flowed through the suite, greener and quieter than ever. Twist 4 detonated when Ryan sued, claiming my Airbnb violated zoning. At the hearing, he arrived smug in a tailored suit. I wore jeans and carried Mom's will. The clause he'd overlooked sat in black ink. Any improvements exceeding 25% of the detached structure's value granted me sole deed. My renovations hit 200%. The judge's gavel sounded like destiny. Ryan's mouth opened, closed, opened again. He'd tried to evict me. Now I owned the land beneath what was once his bargaining chip. The jaw-drop reveal came minutes later when I served my own notice, an option agreement from a boutique hotel group offering to buy the suite and the main house for triple the listing price, provided both parcels transferred together. The hotel loved the contrast. Luxury micro-suite plus vintage craftsman lobby space. Without my newly deeded garage, the deal collapsed. Ryan's face collapsed instead. He begged. I countered, either split proceeds 50-50 or watch his house languish. He signed. 90 days expired with champagne bubbles. Contractors he'd stiffed filed liens. Sale delays devoured his cut. In the end, my bank account soared while his dwindled. Melinda left him, citing poor planning. When the hotel's ribbon cutting arrived, I invited the Crawfords, offered them complimentary stays, and thanked them for inspiring ambition. They blushed crimson. Standing in the suite's sunken tub, I watched guests sip cocktails in what had been my childhood driveway. A lilac-etched door shimmered violet in the sunset, reflecting a phoenix pendant at my throat. Ryan shuffled past the entrance, ignored by cameras, carrying a box of unpaid bills. I almost pitied him. Almost. I leaned against the doorframe and whispered, "Mock the chrysalis, and the butterfly will own the garden."